Hello, welcome back to the review. Someone's decided outside that now is the perfect time to do their recycling and they're making an awful lot of noise outside. So apologies to that. We're here to do a post-match point in association with Purity. If you use the code hashtag VillaView, you'll get 10% off all Purity's beer and ale offerings. And look who is back. Chris Dolan. I've seen him twice in 2 days now. Dolan and myself had the treat of sitting next to each other at Villa Park yesterday. So we're going to go over Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 1. Dolan, how are you?
Good, good. Yeah, got home eventually. I forgot to text you. I didn't give you those 3 rings that you asked for when I got home safely. But no, good, mate. All good. All good. I've had a pretty lazy day, but I mean, I'm on my holidays, so it's all good.
Because Villa and Palace both arguably on their holidays as well. Not much to play for. I'd say it was an interesting game rather than a good game. There was bits in there that I found interesting. But to start with, obviously the 1982 stuff before the game. You hadn't been to Villa Park for a while, so for you to be back at Villa Park was a great thing for you anyway. But that atmosphere before the build-up, before the game started, sorry, that was the best part of the day, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was amazing. Even like I think in general, like you look at what Newcastle have done with St James's Park, and obviously take away the European Cup image. I think we need to get Villa Park rocking, like really rocking before kickoff, get more banners and more just get it really rocking. I thought it was
Fair, Project Basics try. They do really try.
They do, but more from the whole end, like you look at St James's. I remember watching the Liverpool game a couple of weeks ago, and there was just this huge flag just going up all the way across. I think it was the Gallagher end, and it did look spectacular. And I thought Villa Park was just it was beautiful. Everything about it was just class. It was really impressive, and like I say the atmosphere was cracking. But unfortunately, that didn't feed onto the pitch, did it?
That was disappointing, wasn't it? Because I said to you before the game, last time we had something like this at Villa Park, it was Sheffield United under Martin O'Neill in his first season. Yeah. And our place was buzzing for the whole 90 minutes. And then we went on and won 3-0, scored a really nice goal with Patrick Berger, probably one of our best goals we scored at Villa Park that season. And just that whole atmosphere was brilliant. There was the proud history, bright future. Literally, we had no idea what was to follow in probably the decade after that. But I really thought yesterday would translate and the same thing would transpire. And as soon as the game kicked off, it went a little bit flat really quickly, which was a bit disappointing. But I think it's key to recognise, Mings, Gerrard, they've all said stuff after this that, these guys aren't average Joes that are coming out on the pitch. These guys have achieved the pinnacle of playing for Aston Villa and achieving the greatest thing that you can achieve as a football club. So those guys will all go down as absolute heroes. It was bizarre that Gerrard said that originally they were going to form a guard of honour for the current squad.
That can't be right. That can't be right.
I'm glad Gerrard nipped that in the bud. That would have been embarrassing.
That's bizarre. I mean, to clap on mid-table mediocrity? I mean, that is very strange. So yeah, I mean, I think that was talked about after the game. We didn't hear anything like that within the ground. There was no mumblings about that in and around the ground. So I think did Ashley Priest sort of mention that after?
I just saw it on Villa Report earlier on Twitter. That was where I got it from.
Actually, I thought it was a wind-up, actually, when I read it. But
unless it was one of those fake Villa reports that does the round, and I've completely just been done by it.
No, it's not. No, because I know Ashley Priest spoke about it as well in his little post-match interview. So very strange. But luckily, luckily someone saw sense and understood what to do instead of what not to do. But it was an incredible honor. It was an incredible tribute, I suppose. And I thought the stadium looked radiant.
It's a beautiful stadium anyway, isn't it? But everyone talks about claret and blue being the colours. I think when you put the claret and white together like that, you just again you just get the vibe of 1982. That's great colour combinations. But it just looked magnificent with the European Cup Tifa, obviously in the whole end as well. It just looked absolutely brilliant. It's just a shame that it wasn't like that Sheffield United game. So let's come on to the game then. And 1-1, probably a fair result. Yeah. I said to you that if we'd have lost, I wouldn't have had too many complaints because I personally thought Palace probably shaded the game. I know we probably had the better chances, but I thought Palace were the more likely for a lot of that game to score, in my opinion. But Just a shame that we scored and got pinned back so quickly. But then we ended the game really well as well, which I found a little bit frustrating because where was that intensity for the rest of it? But all things considered, 1-1. I think either side will complain.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few points I'm going to bring up. I think you have to give Palace a lot of credit. I thought they were
good team, good players.
Very well drilled. Physical when they had to be, but could still pass it around. Kept the ball well, I thought, in large spells, and caused us problems. I mean, Martinez made a couple of good saves in that first half. Zaha was his nuisance self as always, which was actually quite. I have to say, I like when he gave it back a little bit and
yeah, mate, sir.
Put his hands to his ears. I think why not? He was getting quite a lot of abuse off our lot. So fair play to Zaha. But no, Palace were good. Zaha's not the standout player that he was. Obviously, he doesn't. For me, he didn't control the game for them. But I thought overall, as a unit, they were impressive. I like Anderson and I like Gay at the back. I think they're two really, really, really solid centre halves. You pointed out Klein and Mitchell were getting so far up the pitch. They were getting so much room.
Especially first half.
First half, I mean, Nathaniel Klein, what is he, 33, 32, 33? He was
probably younger than you think he is, actually. He's probably only 30, 31.
He was getting lots of joy down that right-hand side in that first half. And because we were very narrow, playing that little diamond in the middle, we were quite narrow. But no, I think, as you said, you can't really complain with the draw, and you couldn't have complained if they'd have gone on and snatched that. I think we edged the better chances. They controlled it probably in larger parts. I think, Klein's 31. There you go. Yeah, so you're spot on. I think Ings, and that's the problem with Ings. We bought Ings to put those away. That's why you bought him. And as you quite rightly said, last season for Southampton, he buries those 9 times out of 10.
If that's Southampton against Villa at Villa Park, they'd both go in. Well, they did both go in.
Yeah. So both were just for me gilt-edged chances, and they were on a plate. The first one he snatched at it. So again, you look at Ings and you think of his natural ability and his experience. He just snatched at it. He snatched at that first chance. And the second one, he's got to find the back of the net with that second one. It was perfect for him. He had all the time in the world, got it out of his feet. Good effort, but it's got to be going into the back of the net, and we could easily go in 2-0 up at half time. And
do you think it's a lack of? I mean, to be fair, he's played a lot recently, but generally for Villa, he's never really had any rhythm this season because he's never had a consistent run of games. Whenever he's played for Southampton, he's always had that run of games and he's banging the goals. And you think if he's been playing for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, he's probably on a run of goals and they probably go in. But at the moment, I do think there's something in the back of his mind that it hasn't gone as well as he would have hoped. So he's probably, I feel like he's overthinking a little bit at times.
He probably is lacking a bit of confidence because, there's been, for him, it's been very stop-start, the whole Watkins-Ings thing. I thought it was a strange transfer to begin with, yes, I've always called out we need more options from the bench in terms of a striking department, but it's almost like we have 2 strikers, essentially 2 first choice strikers, and when you have that in your team, it's difficult to get them on form. Watkins, you can't argue with Watkins' goal record. I think that's 25.
Got 25 Premier League goals for Villa now in 2 seasons. Yeah,
you can't really argue with that. It's decent. It's decent for it's a decent return, and Ings has got 7 this season, I believe. So
Ings' goal contributions are good considering the amount of games he's played. I think he's got 7 goals or 6 assists. I forget which way around it is, but that 13 goal contributions is decent for the amount of games he started.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think he's lacking confidence, and I do think he's almost trying too hard. I think he's trying to justify that price tag, and he's trying to justify why he was signed in the first place. And yeah, I do think he's probably overthinking it a little too much. But it was it is what it is. I thought when Watkins got that goal and towards 62-minute mark, whatever it was, I thought, okay, we can kick on now and win this. But 10 minutes later, it's awful defending once again. Second phase, don't clear lines, and just dreadful defending all around, isn't it?
Mings deals with the first set piece. Obviously, well, I think generally, I said to you at the game, we don't concede loads from set pieces. I can't remember too many set piece goals we've conceded this season. I can remember one at Arsenal off the top of my head. One anywhere else? That's the one that leaps out to me. I don't remember us conceding loads of goals set pieces, bar the Wolves game at home where anything that came in our penalty area, Jesus Christ, it was scary in the last 10 minutes, and they scored 3 goals off set pieces. But other than them 2 games, I don't remember there being loads, especially under Gerrard. That both those games were Dean Smith. So it was annoying after having said that to you that obviously we've conceded off a second phase of set piece. But Mings clears it well. I actually think Luiz does a decent job of trying to stop the cross and make it difficult. He's kind of hooked it back in and it's turned into a really good ball. But the difference is on the knockdown, Schlupp just reacts quicker than anyone in the Villa shirt and knocks it in. And I guess that's the disappointing thing. Gerrard said, we've only got ourselves to blame there. And he's probably right.
Yeah, no, exactly. And when they scored, I never really thought we'd get back into it. And I think once Palace got themselves level, I think they were quite happy with that point.
But we did have a go at the end.
We had a go. We literally with the last 5-6 minutes, we had a go. The couple of chances. I think Watkins had a header that came off one of their players at close range.
Looked like he was heading for goal. That.
Yeah, so we had a few chances, and there was Coutinho and Buendia really tried to drive us on. I thought again Buendia came on, and when he came on, he probably tried to do too much again. Obviously really wants to carry on making that impression. I think he'll start on Thursday. I think he'll come back into the team on Thursday, and I think you'll see. I think you'll see Coutinho come back into this squad on Sunday. So I think that's how he'll work it. But yeah, it was just one of those classic end of season games, and I think 2 teams that are very, very evenly matched. And I've got a lot of time for Palace. I respect them massively. I think Vieira he's a legend. An absolute legend. You look down. Where we were sitting behind the dugouts, you just look down, and there's Steven Gerrard and Patrick Vieira.
Weird, horrible though in some ways.
But it's 2 iconic footballers. For me, 2 of the greatest midfielders to ever play the game, and so yeah, I've got a lot of time for Vieira. I think they recruited really well over the summer. They've got a good balance, and they just look very, very well drilled and very streetwise. And as you said, once you did say that you can sort of see Vieira has had an extra 5 or 6 months with that squad, obviously including the pre-season, which is vital. And they're Vieira's players. They're largely Vieira's players.
They are, but there's a few. I said this to you as well. There's a few players. I don't know why I keep saying I said this to you. I don't need to keep saying that. But there's players who've been at Palace a long time. Players who I would say are jobbing players in the Premier League. A couple of journeymen in there. He didn't play yesterday, but I said Jim McCarthy's had a good season for Palace when he's played. That Koyate and Milivojevic in midfield yesterday, I would say both are bang average, but they offered that physicality, and what they did do was keep Coutinho out of the game. We didn't get him in the game at all again, and it's slightly disappointing.
He had glimpses. There was glimpses, there's glimpses of sheer genius, and the way he glides around the pitch is a joy to watch. But yeah, we just couldn't get him in the game, and I just thought going forward, I said, I thought he just looked a bit static at times, We're not
quick enough in transition when we come forward. We manage to slow down counter-attacks like no team I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. But, in transition, we look, we're slow, and we don't get the pass off quick enough, and we'll pick the wrong pass, and we'll make the wrong run.
Slow pass.
Yeah, it's just to be quicker and sharper and more on point. And when we get it right, it's a joy to watch. And we have got it right at times. Like Southampton, Burnley away, Brighton. There's been a lot of occasions where we've looked really dangerous, but just not consistently enough.
This is why we are where we are, isn't it? If you're more consistent, you're higher up in the table, but it's that lack of consistency that keeps you where you are, and that's why we will probably finish bottom half, I would say.
We deserve to be where we are, and it's a shame, because I think that result yesterday kind of probably finishes our chances of a top 10 finish.
It'd be a big ask to win the last 2 games and finish 10th.
So we're not going to finish 10th. So it's whether or not, and we can. It's like, saying it's whether or not we can pip Brentford for that 11th spot.
We did 11th last season, so at least it would be nothing worse than last season.
Are we back in the championship all of a sudden, pipping Brentford to that 11th spot? You know?
Bloody Brentford.
I know, God, it's always been our bogey team over the last 5 or 6 years. But yeah, listen, I think we'll win on Thursday, and God, Sunday's a free hit. It's actually quite exciting just to be part of Sunday.
Yeah, it is, because we're a long way off being in the title race, so to be part of one is interesting. I agree with you there.
Massive spider right here.
Okay, you might need to move closer to your mic if you're going to talk as well.
Massive spider.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Dealt with it.
Yeah.
Good lad.
Yeah, just to be part of Sunday, I think is going to be really, really exciting. And you just never know. I mean, I've had a load of texts this morning from Liverpool mates saying they've never been a bigger Villa fan, and it's going to be.
I hope they like disappointment. Hope they're used to it.
No, listen. I mean, our record against the top 8, let alone the top 2, is abysmal this season. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but you never know, mate. Stranger things have happened. I mean, we did go there in O'Neill's first season. Sean Maloney scored a worldly free kick.
Wasn't Sven their manager then? I think that was a long way off what they are now. Then
it was a Crewe and Sean Maloney. I always remember that Sean Maloney goal, and he celebrated, and nobody bothered to go and celebrate with him after he scored that free kick. He was just strange guy, wasn't he, Sean Maloney? But you never know, mate, but it's highly, highly, highly unlikely we'll get anything from that game unless Liverpool have to win. They're not in. They have to win their last 2, so it's not a given by any stretch. So we have to do them a favour. If they win their last 2 and City win their last 2 or their last game, then it's over for Liverpool. But we have to try and do something for them, but. You never know. You've done
a great job of getting away from the game that we're actually here to talk about.
Sorry,
fantastic. Yeah. Not the time for the match preview right now, Don. We'll do that later on in the week. One thing I did want to point out from Villa that I think is a positive. We're in as good a place as we've ever been with fullbacks. Cash and Dean, both exceptional fullbacks. Cash did some unbelievable defending in the second half. A bit quieter going forward than perhaps he has been at times, but Luca Dean now is really starting to come into his own down that left-hand side. He now looks a big upgrade on target to me. Yeah.
Even from a defensive,
settling in at first, but his delivery, he's involved in the goal, obviously. He just looks a top player.
From a defensive point of view as well, which was always the question mark. Can he defend? I thought he was really super solid. And I think Cash is probably a better defender than Luca Dean, and I think Luca Dean's slightly better going forward. It's a slightly better end product, but both fullbacks were outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
Goalkeeper as well, good side.
Yeah. And it's something we've really lacked over the years. We've always tended to play a centre half back, not right back. The classic Olaf Melberg, or even Courtney House. Quellar, for me it never works. You need those modern fullbacks to be bombing up and down the pitch all game, and I thought they were both excellent. I think Luca Digne's obviously had a few injury worries when he's come in, and he's come back. He's come back after that latest, was it the shoulder injury?
He's still injured. He's playing through a knock. I've been told he's playing through an injury still, but he's been flawless really since he's come back in. Actually,
he's looked as good as he has been in the last 2 or 3 than he did in the first sort of.
I agree.
5 games. He's
getting involved in goals now. Most goals that we've scored recently, he's played a part in them. He's been involved in the build-up and
just quality. He's just a quality footballer, And,
I guess that's what you didn't have with Target as much. He wasn't involved in too many goals.
It's a Target had his moments, but I always just felt from a fitness point of view, Target always looked a little bit off it, and I think I always felt if their winger got the better of Target early on, then he tended to kind of crumble and have a dodgy game. So Watford away, yeah, exactly. It was a shocker, but no, listen, I'm not anti-Target or anything. I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'd have actually liked him to be here as a part of the squad still.
Yeah, I think as a backup, he would have been ideal. But I just think when you've got someone like Luca Dean, for 20 million, you can't ignore these. You can't ignore it. And I think it was a great bit of business from us. We swooped in there before Lampard came in. There's no doubt Lampard would have kept him. No doubt. So for us to go in and swoop in when we did and take him under Lampard's nose was very, very astute and very impressive. And And yeah, as you said, he's been, both fullbacks have been outstanding. Again, credit to Matt Cash getting the Supporters Player of the Year. He's been so consistent. There was obviously the talk about I know for a fact Atletico were interested.
Yeah, I understand that was real.
Genuine interest. It wasn't just paper talk. So to tie him down to a long-term deal, he's the future. He's the kind of player that we need. He's the future of the club. And I kind of said to his old man, God, he should have maybe waited a couple of months and he could be in that England squad in the next year or two.
There's a lot of players to get past there. I think he's done the right thing going.
He has. He's obviously going to the World Cup, and listen, he's playing with some world class footballers, so he's going to learn a lot, and he's going to learn a lot from that Poland setup anyway. So, but no, great. Credit to the fullbacks. They're a massive part of what Gerrard wants to do.
Exactly.
They're a pivotal to how we want to play next season, and like I say, mate, I thought Nakamba was excellent again, but like we've always said, he's just a bit loose in the ball, and just he's a little bit rugged. His first touch is a bit loose, and his final pass isn't great, but he wins the ball back really well.
Positionally as well when you're playing a 4-3-3.
I mean, I think he really stood out for me, and I said, if we can upgrade on Nakamba, if we can get a real upgrade on Nakamba, again, no disrespect to the guy, because I think he's been great for us, and he came into the club in that first season and didn't really do it, and then had that awful injury. Horrific injury. Was great with Gerrard, and then had that awful injury, and he's come back, and he's done well. He did really well against Liverpool, and I thought he was excellent for 60 minutes. But if we can upgrade on Nakamba and get a really good CDM, that for me, that's the missing link. That's what we're missing. We're missing that.
If you do that, like I said, I'd like Target to be part of the squad. You've got Nakamba as a backup squad player coming in for definitely. The odd game. I think you're in a good place now.
Yeah, definitely.
That shows strength.
Definitely, and I think any top team, mate, you need two good players in each position. I think we'll keep Olsen. I think we'll buy him next season. I mean, if you go through the squad and look at sort of the options, we do need another left back. I think he'll probably does Kessler come back in next season? Probably. You're looking across the midfield. I think Luis will stay. Does Carney stay? I think Tim's going to stick around. McGinn, I think we'll get maybe another. I think we'll get a CDM and maybe like another number 8 or number 6.
Because Sanson's going to go. It's pretty clear he's not going to be here next season.
Yeah. So listen, I think for me, two really strong players in each position is what we need, and I think come next season, I think we'll have that. I think Gerrard wants to get the business done early. I think he wants to get those players in early. I would imagine he knows exactly who he wants already.
There'll be 3 or 4 in, and they'll be top level players. We won't be buying people to come in and be a squad player or anything like that. We'll be precise. There'll be 3 or 4 players come in, and they'll all be first team players that are going to challenge and be an upgrade on what we already have. And then if you don't shift too many, because obviously El Ghazi, Trezeguet, people like that are going to go, probably Burt as well. They'll all go, but then you've got a squad there. You've got the 5 subs thing next season as well. So
and I'm more than comfortable to get rid of the likes of Trezeguet and El Ghazi and Target if it means bringing in 4 or 5 quality players, but also keeping the nucleus of the youngsters as well in and around that squad. I think Kessler comes back into the squad, and even like I can't really say it, but you still got Louis Barry out there doing some things. He's done well, and there's some.
He needs a championship loan to see what he's about. I think.
Yeah. Does Archer come back into the squad?
They're going to look at him pre-season, aren't they? It depends whether we get a striker or not. I personally think we will sign a striker. I think it's pretty clear who it will be as well. Looking at things, if I'm being honest, but Archer will get a chance.
Who do you think it's going to be?
This isn't based on being told anything by anyone, but I just think we'll go for Suarez. It's just what I think we'll do. He's available on a free. I just really think Gerrard will want him. I think he'll be here.
I don't back that at all in terms of. I'm not saying. I think you're right. I think we will get him, but I just think it's an awful waste of wages. I just don't. Coutinho, I understand. I get that, because of his age. But Suarez, was he 36, 37?
He's a bit younger than that. I'm sure it'll flash up on the screen from producer John and tell us exactly how old he is. I guarantee he'll be younger than me.
The Suarez deal for me, Coutinho was a no-brainer, but the Suarez deal for me is not a no-brainer. Listen, I hope I'm wrong, but it just seems very short-term for me.
I know, I completely get what you're doing. He's 35, yeah, and he's a year younger than me. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I just think Gerrard will want him. That's what I think. And then I think if you're bringing in someone at free, of course, his wages aren't going to be cheap. I just think you've then got more money to buy his own centre-back, which I think he'll want, his own defensive midfielder. And I think there might be a number 8 chucked in there as well. And then I think that'll be us done.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gomez is a big shout. I think he wants to get Gomez in. I think we may see one of our 2 current centre backs move on. Which, listen, because we've kind of they've been with us since the start, really, since the journey began. But I've got a feeling Konza might not be here next season.
He might have had a bad injury. We obviously don't know the extent of his injury at the moment. He didn't look great.
No,
didn't look great at all. That
on that, I thought Chambers came on and had a really, really good game. I think he carried the ball out of defence really well. Got us quite high up the pitch.
I like Chambers. I got to say, I wasn't sure when we signed him. I've never been impressed with him at Arsenal, but most things I've seen from him at Villa, I've liked.
He's been very, very good, and obviously his goal against Leeds and his ball in for Coutinho to lay off to Luis was out of this world. So, no, I was impressed by Chambers. He sort of stuck out for me when he came on for the last half an hour. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer. I think the thing is, like, the players that move on, most of them are already on loan and aren't at the club. So 90% for me aren't in the club as it stands. So we're not going to be seeing a huge sort of disruption to the current squad. I think a lot of
we won't be ripping it up. Absolutely no chance. No chance.
So we get 4 or 5 in, and maybe 1 or 2 from the current setup go. And then the rest of the players that are on loan already, like Wesley and El Ghazi, Trezeguet. I think maybe Keane Davis might move on. I think Forrest has just been the perfect fit for him.
If they go up, they'll chuck us 10-15 million for Keane, I think.
I think so. So yeah, it's really exciting, mate. And as you say, we are in the best place. Just the club as a whole, I just think is just such a great place, and there's a great atmosphere around the ground. We stuck around yesterday and had a beer, and there's just a really good positive atmosphere about the place, and everything's there just to go and really kick on. But yeah, I just think we need to make Villa Park much more of a fortress. It didn't feel very intimidating yesterday.
The two probably go hand in hand, don't they? Because when we were on that 10-game run in the Championship, Villa Park was immense every single week. It's because you're winning every week. So they kind of go hand in hand. If the team start making Villa Park a harder place to go, the fans will buy into that and the fans will become louder as well. It kind of works both ways. It's difficult, but I agree with you that it could just do with being a little bit more hostile. Liverpool the other night, Tuesday night, the first 10 minutes, Villa Park again was a high level. It was a difficult place. It was intimidating for Liverpool. I'd like it to be like that all the time. Palace, you go to Selhurst Park, their fans don't change. Whoever they're playing, whatever the score is, that one end at Selhurst Park is always loud. I'd just like the whole end to be a bit more like that.
Yeah, I agree. But listen, we're nitpicking now, but I just think...
Yeah, no, but it's a valid point.
I just think just for next season, I just think our home form has to be better. It's funny because our away form was so woeful in the first, for years, actually, our away form's always been sort of, historically very poor, but we've managed to sort of be good on the road. We managed to be hard to beat on the road. But for me now, it's getting that balance.
Well, hard to beat in general. Actually, I will say Gerrard deserves credit for that, except for getting routed by Spurs, where we actually dominated the first half anyway. We only lose by 1 goal. Yeah, generally, we're always in games.
What did you say yesterday? We've lost by 1 goal on
13 times, I think it is.
13 occasions. Yeah,
it's 13 times, I think. Yeah, I might be wrong with that. But that's what someone told me.
That's the fine line, mate. Those are the margins. There's those fine lines that you look back on a season and you think, where could we have picked up more points? And God, there's a few games off the top of my head that we should have seen out or we should have got something from. But it's funny because people have been banging on saying, "Oh, we're not far away from beating the big teams. We're not far away from this."
We beat them all last season.
Mate, we beat Liverpool 7-2. We got 4 points against Chelsea.
6 Arsenal.
We got 6 off Arsenal. We got 3 off Spurs. So we pretty much picked. I think we beat. Did we beat everyone?
Everyone except for City. I think. I know we didn't beat Man U last season.
No, that's true.
That's standard though. But they're not a big team anymore anyway.
we beat them this season. So
Yeah.
apart from United last season, we've already beaten them. So when I hear the media bang on about, we're not far away from beating one of the big teams, but we beat them all last season. So I'm not going to look at that and go, oh, we're not far away, because I think last season there was moments of where we can get to and where we can be, but we just obviously tailed off massively last season and had a really, really bad end of the season. And I think 2021 as a whole was tough, and 2022 has not been an awful lot better. So it's we just need to just get back in the way of things. And everyone bangs on about this pre-season. If we don't start the season like a house on fire, then there will be questions asked. And he needs to start quickly. He needs to get the players in quickly, and we need to start the season quickly. We need to really, we need to get a real good balance to the side. And I think Jordan knows. He knows what he wants. He knows exactly what he wants, and he knows exactly the style of football he wants to play. So I think
I look at that as being a positive. He might not be able to implement it yet, but he knows the blueprint that he wants to play to, and he'll stick to his guns. So I think that's a good thing.
I think this board will give him time, because Perslow went down on a limb to bring him in, and he's on a massive salary, and he strikes me as being the kind of manager that if he asks, he generally gets. And I know at Rangers, he went in there and completely changed, like from top to bottom, everything. And I know one of the big things for him when he left was he probably wasn't backed again to go again in the transfer window and last summer. And I think he's the kind of manager that needs to be backed, and he has always played with winners. He's been a winner himself, and I think you look at some of the players that he's going to get rid of, and they're a classic case of, well, I don't think they're ever going to have that mentality in them. And he wants to bring in players that are winners, and that have been there and done it. And I think, say, the likes of Luca Dean and Coutinho, if they're anything, if those signings are anything to go by, then I think we'll be in for a pretty good summer. But for me, if we only sign one player next in the summer, for me it has to be a centre midfielder. It has to be, and we have to go big, and we have to spend big. I think we'll go for Basuma, and I'd chuck 50-60 million at it. I think that's what we're going to have to do.
He won't cost that, because he'll only have a year left on his contract. So Basuma, he wouldn't be as crazy money as he probably would have been in January. Yeah.
Obviously, there's Kamara from Marseille as well on a free. So there's options there. There's some good players that have either got a year in their contract or are actually, their contracts ran down. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, back to yesterday, it was great to be back at Villa Park. Great to see loads of people, and great to see old faces, and just a shame the game didn't quite live up to expectations. But it's Villa, and we're kind of used to that. Yeah,
that's a nice way to end it, Dolan. Been good to talk to you on the Villa View again. Thank you everyone who's tuned in, and those that are going to go on to watch as well. We'll God, I can't talk. We will be back for the last preview of the season. Of course, that massive game. I know we've got 2 games left, haven't we? We'll be back for a Burnley preview. I guess we have to chuck in a Burnley preview at some point, but then a Manchester City preview as well, and a post-match point at the end of Burnley. So yeah, still plenty of content to come on the Villa View. So watch out on our socials. If John Inslee ever pulls his finger out, we might have some social media posts for you, letting us know when the content is coming up. Thanks ever so much to Dolan. Great to chat to you as always. And thanks to John as well for producing. Thank you very much, John. Take care. Get your notifications on. Up the Villa.